Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome into a very special edition of Sporting 160EN. We have with us a very special guest. Before we get to our special guest here, I'd like to ask who our common guest here. Sam, how are you doing, man? Very special guest.
Yeah, I'm good. Glad to be here. Thank you for coming on, Ažbe. Like, really do appreciate it, and hope you have a good time.
Yeah. Thank you for invite. I'm very happy that I can join you guys, and I hope you'll have good time.
Awesome, man. So before we get into your time at Sporting, I just want to talk about you how you're doing currently. For those who don't know, Ažbe is currently playing for Maribor. He has for the past 2 seasons. Just fill us in on how you're currently doing, how your time back home in Slovenia is going, and stuff related to that.
Yeah, I'm back home now. It was like 11 years. The last time I played here in Slovenia, so it was really good to come back. But most of it because I have a son and a daughter, so it's good to be with them all the time. It feels really good, and in club is really good organized. It's really known in Europe because they had good results in the past 10 years. They were in Champions League, in Europa League, and now we are starting to like rebuild the team. So last year was a little bit difficult. We were still on top, but not as we wished to finish. But still, the main goal of the club is to play in Europe. So in Europe competitions.
So last season, I saw that you guys ended up tied on points, but you lost out on the title. What ended up happening there? What was the tiebreaker?
It was last game. So they were 3 points behind us, and we had the last game against them. So it was still one fact: the whole season was closed for the fans, and the last game they could open it. So the atmosphere was really, really good for us, and we played at home. But unfortunately, we couldn't manage the win or a draw. But still, it's a game to learn from it, and just to the reminder for upcoming games.
Just going to talk about your time in Sporting. I just wanted to know, so you saw a lot of goalkeepers come in, Rui Patricio, who's now at Roma, and you've had players like Beto and Salin. What was it like playing with those players, and was it a good experience for you to sort of train alongside them?
Yes, of course. When I came, there were Rui, of course, and Marcelo Boek, but he moved after 6 months, so there were just me and Rui. But yeah, I learned a lot from them, the work ethic, how to be 100% on every training. Then in summer, Beto came, and I went back to the 3rd place. And with Beto was like a surprise because it was first time that I met a player like this. He's really charismatic in the locker room. You can see it already too on the pitch, but it's like positive. You can learn a lot from him. He's a really experienced guy, and he's a really good guy too. And then with Salin, I was really good because we spoke French. He helped me sometimes after I left Sporting. But yeah, overall was really good experience to be next to these, you can say, big goalkeepers.
I want to take our listeners and you and everyone back in time to, I guess it was January of 2016. Marcelo Boeck had just obviously, as you just mentioned, left the club, went back to Brazil, which made you the backup keeper now. Obviously, that season, Sporting almost won the title. Famously, missed out, came down to the final day, still had a chance, but unfortunately, just came up short. For you, what was it like? Being the backup keeper. Just being one. Rui Patricio, pulls his hamstring. Something happens. You're, at all times, you're 1 second away from going into critical games. How did you prepare, and what was it like?
Yeah, I think my opinion is that everything is in your head. If you're prepared every time to get in. But that season was really special, like you said, with new coach, with really changing everything in the club, the mentality, the focus. And if I tell you the truth, the last when Marcelo left, my goal was to be really positive, really encourage Rui when he played, and of course I prepared myself for the injury or red card or something. But still, I was really trying to be in big support of the team. That we were like one group, because we all knew that only like this you can win the league. But unfortunately, in the end, we didn't make it. It was really tight. I think, if I remember, we had record points of any champions before, and we were second. So, but it was really good season for the club. And yeah, like I said, it was really focus and be prepared for anything.
Yeah, when you joined in 2015, you obviously, like you mentioned, came under the new management of Jorge Jesus. Was he someone that sort of made you want to go to Sporting, and what was it like training under him? Was he good? There's been a lot of stories and a lot of things said about him. What were your experiences with Jorge Jesus?
In fact, he came like one day after me. He was announced. I knew him from Benfica from before, but I didn't really, if I tell you the truth, before I came to Portugal, here in Slovenia, and before in France, I didn't really look the Portuguese league, so I didn't knew a lot of him. But in the end, for me, even now, my opinion is, for me, was one of the best coaches I had, because I know he's now on the other side, but still he's really, really good, and he demands of every player to give 100%, to give him everything, and like they say, the best, they are a little bit crazy, and he's the same. So yeah, it was really good. Even if I didn't play, I was focused. I was trying to understand his tactics, because I knew in the end, in the future, I was still young. I will need this. I would use his tactics or knowledge of football. So I tried to be focused in every meetings that we had, that I can use after when I play, and in future in my career.
I just wanted to ask you a question about your journey initially to Sporting. So I was just doing a little bit of reading, and it seems like you were scouted by Bordeaux at a Slovenia youth game in England. Obviously, that's how you got to Bordeaux. How was the process of getting to Sporting? Who were you recruited by? Obviously, Jesus was announced the same day. Was Jesus a player that even knew about you? Yeah, just talk me through your process of how you got to Sporting in the first place.
Yeah, my contract ended in Bordeaux, but in my in my favor. I had good agent, the same one that Jan Oblak has. So we got through him to Sporting. He had really good connection, and I think I got in through club, not through coach. So yeah, everything happened really quickly, like in 1 month, and I was there signing the contract.
You were signed by the president at the time, Bruno de Carvalho. Did you have many interactions with him, and what were your thoughts on the man himself?
I can tell you from my experience, he was like okay, but you could see that he was like you can say crazy fan.
Because he was sitting on the bench with you as well, right, during the championship season. So
Yeah.
I mean, you were probably sitting next to him sometimes, right? You got to see him up close and personal more than a lot of players see the club's president. You know.
Yeah, I can say he was really passionate about everything. That's why he even sat on the bench. For me, it was a little bit strange, but still, you know, it's something. If he wants, he can do it. But still, I can say he was really passionate about everything. I think in the end, this passion for the club was like over step of everything. I think. But I don't know the details after what happened when I left. I just know what the guys told me and the what I read in the newspaper.
Yeah, so just more generally, you know, since you left Sporting, I guess in the summer of 2017, how closely did you pay attention to Sporting after you left? And you know, what were the next steps for you as far as, you know, ending up then afterwards in the Netherlands?
Yeah, still now I'm looking for results of Sporting. I'm still watching them. I still pay attention of the players. Um, I'm really happy that Quats is the captain, because he's like, when he came, he was really like good leader, and with the captain status, I think he's perfect for the team. Even now, when they are really young and they are doing really good. But my plan after was that's why I got out of Sporting, um, because they said to me that I will be in the same or last position that I was. So for me was not an option. Um, Even that I had still, I think, 2 years of contract, 2 years and a half. I said, okay, I will try to find some club that I can play in and develop myself. Even coach told me in the end that that is important for me that I play the games, and I agreed with him, so I left. But unfortunately, after was like really hard to find a good middle, you can say. So I was without the club 1 year and a half, but still I maintained the focus to play in a good level. So after 1 year and a half, I found a club in Holland, Fortuna Sittard.
I was just going to ask, in terms of moving from France to Portugal, was there any sort of being nervous for you at the start in terms of like a new culture in a different country? And since leaving, is there anything you miss about being in Portugal and living in there?
To come in a new country for me was not so difficult, because if you once lived in France, I think everywhere else it's easier, I think. But in Portugal was I missed a lot of. I liked people a lot because they were like really nice. They were calm, easygoing. Um, the the food was really good there, and of course the weather. The weather is perfect. It doesn't go below 15 degrees, so it's amazing. And the country itself is really nice. Nice to see things, and everything is like by the sea. So yeah, these things.
As far as different players that you played with, both at the B team level, and even training with the first team, etc., such as Mary Demiral, Jovan Cabral, players like that. Was there any players that you played with that really stood out, that would go on, that you played with, that you didn't impress you the most, but then went on to have great careers and it surprised you? Yeah, just anything like that about any former teammates you played with along the way.
Uh, yeah, back then when I played for second team, Demiral wasn't playing so much, and few times he came with us to the first team. But now he's playing really good. I saw his highlights. Amazing player. He developed really good. Um, yeah, for me from first team, the most stood out, I think, Bas Dost, because he was like really, you can say Bas Dost and Slimani before. They were like really similar players. Their focus was just goal and goal, goal, goal. And with Bas Dost was a little bit different because his work ethic was unbelievable. If he didn't let any other players to not train 100%. He will shout on you every time if you didn't give everything. So yeah, him. And I think, like I said in the start, Beto for me was because he was a goalkeeper. So I look at goalkeepers more, and for me, he had the most impact.
You spoke earlier about Salin and speaking French with him. Was there any other players you sort of really connected with on like a personal level? Was there any that you liked to train with? Was there any sort of like favorites for you in there?
Uh, yeah, in first year, me and Slimani, we were in the room all the time. We spoke French too. So yeah, we got along really well. But then in the team, most with the young guys like Ryan Gold. Uh, um, uh, yeah, most of them youngsters.
Have you followed Ryan at all recently on his journey to my neck of the woods, the United States, at all?
I
Or
saw.
not Canada, actually, but the North American League, MLS.
Yeah, I saw he's doing really well. He's playing good. He's scoring goals. Even before he was, I can remember. I saw some games. He played really good there. But then he moved to States. Yeah, maybe sometimes I come to States. I hope so. I
I
hope.
think you should. I think you really should. You would really
Yeah,
like it here.
yeah. Still time. Still time.
Did you have, when looking back now, it's been a number of years since you left Sporting, do you have any sort of regrets, or are you someone that just lets it go as it is and just goes with the flow, really?
No, I think in Sporting, I really tried. Maybe here's funny, but I really tried to play more games because with Rui it was a little bit difficult on the first place, but still I was pushing him. I was trying to play, but in the end, the in football is just not the team and training. You have some things behind that most of the time are more important. Uh, so the things that the players doesn't have so much impact. But I think in Portugal I gave everything that really I had. Even the game that I played, the cup game, I played really good. Uh, so yeah, no, I don't have no regrets. I think everything in the end uh, um, brings you where you should be. So I'm going with this.
Speaking of that cup game that you played in, your one official appearance for Sporting. Obviously, you had a handful of appearances in preseason games and stuff like that. I even saw you play in a preseason game. The starting lineup that day was a 1-0 away win at Tarouca. Goal scored in the 79th minute by Marvin Ziegelaar. The lineup was Ažbe Jug, Ezekiel Schelotto, Paulo Oliveira, Everton, Ziegelaar, Ricardo Esgaio, who's now back at Sporting, Mateus Pereira, Andre Martins wore the captain's armband, Junya Tanaka, Sporting cult hero, the Japanese legend himself, Alberto Aquilani, and Freddie Montero.
Yeah.
What a lineup, right? That is some awesome former Sporting players. Did any of those players stand out to you, or any moments from that game that stood out to you? I believe you made a couple good saves. You kept a clean sheet. Obviously, we won the game, but unfortunately didn't advance it to the Final Four.
Yeah, it was last game I think of the group. Yeah, indeed, this lineup. Yeah, I forgot Montero. We were really close too. Yeah. I even met his family and everything. We still talk sometimes on Instagram. But in this lineup, I think Aquilani was like really, really big player. I think he's now coaching Primavera, Fiorentina. So really good for him. But yeah, really, like you said, amazing lineup. And it was really good game.
Growing up, did you always want to be a goalkeeper? And who did anyone inspire you? Did you watch someone on TV and think, that's what I want to do? And if so, who were your biggest idols?
From what I remember, I wanted to be a goalkeeper because my father was a goalkeeper. And my brother, he started as a goalkeeper, but then he said he's boring, and he said he went on the center defender. He wanted more ball in his feet. But I stayed as a goalkeeper. Yeah, in the start, I was looking for like Jens Lehmann, Oliver Kahn. I'm a little bit old-fashioned even now. I like crazy goalkeepers. But my idol was always Peter Schmeichel. So yeah, I was really looking at him all the time.
Obviously, a former Sporting player as well. Did you ever get in contact with him, or was that something that you never got to do?
No, never. But I was talking a lot with Nelson about him when because they were both at that time together, and he told me some crazy stories, and he said that he's a really good guy, really big, but I never met him.
And what do you think of his son Casper? Do you think he can be as good as his dad? I know he's sort of on the older side of things now, but he's definitely made a name for himself.
Yeah, of course, he's really really good. But it's different, Peter was in Manchester United. He made his name there. It's different than in Leicester City. But still, his son is really good goalkeeper. The same charisma, the same mentality as his father, and even with national team, he's doing really well as his father. So there's no deniable that he's not good. He's really really good, top class goalkeeper.
Ažbe, have you been back to Sporting or Portugal in general, the stadium, anything since 2017? And if not, what was your favorite moment, or some of your most memorable moments while your 2 years at Sporting?
Yes, I was on. I think 2 games after that in Champions League. They played against Juventus when Buffon was still there. I was on that game, and a few times I came to Lisbon to meet some guys. Yeah, uh, and we were trying to go to vacation this winter now in December. But we said first we will go to Bordeaux, and after maybe in summer to Lisbon when it's better weather.
You mentioned Buffon, for example. Was there anyone that you played against or sort of got to see that you were sort of like starstruck, or just like couldn't believe you were like on the same pitch or even sharing the same stadium? Did that ever happen to you as a goalkeeper?
Yeah, once I tried to be really. When we played, for example, with Sporting the friendly games, we always played against big teams, and I always try to not focus on them because I know then I will really. It's not the point to focus on the other team before the game or the players of them. Uh, but the one game that I can say is when we play against Fenerbahce. This the second preparation. I think in that team you had Valbuena, you had even Van Persie. I think you have Volkan on the goal. You have uh, was I think not Skriniar. I think it was defender. And a second half, Kier came inside, the other defender. So it was a really big team. So that game was a little bit different for me when we went on the pitch. But after you forget, it's 11 against 11. So, but in the start, I was a little bit shaken.
As far as your own personal aspirations, obviously now you're the starter at Maribor now for 2 seasons now. Do you have any aspirations still for the Slovenian national team at this point?
Yes,
Obviously, you've been capped for all the youth levels, but is it something that you think that you can achieve still?
yes, I think so. Of course, I'm still 29. Um, but like everything depends of how I play, how I represent myself on the pitch. I did all the youth national team, um, and I hope I will be called for the first time. But like I said, it's on me to play good, and then in the end is the coach who decides who will come for the national team. So I hope I will get the call. But I don't really. My focus is not really on the national team. It's the club. But of course, for every player is like big honor to play for his country.
Just on the topic of the club, obviously Maribor you play for has been in Champions League. I believe they played Sporting a year before you came. Actually, what's it like there? Are the fans just as passionate as we think the Sporting fans are? Just talk us through what life is for you there at the moment.
Yeah, I can say that the fans in here in Maribor, of course, are the best in Slovenia. Uh, but if you look back, uh, 10-year period, you can see which teams played here and they couldn't win because when you come to our stadium, full stadium with our fans, I can say that every team that it's not used to it, you will get shaky legs. So many teams, they couldn't win, even if the budget was 20 times bigger. And yeah, we are really, really proud and happy to have fans like this, and they help us even this season a lot. Right now we are doing really good, like last 5-6 games. So I hope this will continue, and I hope they will not close the stadiums, and again we will play without fans.
Famously, Sporting failed to win away at Maribor in the Champions League.
Yeah.
Maribor scored a 90th minute equalizer. I'll never forget that game.
Some of these, it's not easy to win here.
Yeah, I guess I'll. We got a question here from Bernard Serra. You kind of mentioned a couple players that marked you. Betu, Kowats, obviously you mentioned as a leader. Was there any other players that really left a lasting impact on you?
I can say really everybody, but like I mentioned, Bas Dost, Slimani, Adrian Silva, of course, the captain. Kowats back then he just came, but you can see that he's like really a central defender that you can depend on it. Yeah, and Bruno Fernandes when he came, of course. Yeah, and that's it. Yeah.
I was just going to ask you. Obviously, you wouldn't want anyone to leave Maribor at the moment. But is there a player you think that we should keep an eye on and player that impresses you the most over at Maribor?
Yeah, we have now at this time we have really young team. I already put one name to Nelson when he was there. But overall, you have one player who played in France and now he came here, still really young. Jan Repas. But yeah, overall, when you go, if you compare our league to others, it's a little bit like slower tempo. So it's difficult to put someone out. But if I had to, I will put him. Yeah, Jan Repas.
Sorry, Chris, go on.
No, you can go, Sam. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, so looking back at your career, and you don't have to say Sporting just because you're on here, was there sort of a favorite club you play for? Is it your current one? I know you probably don't want to say another team at the moment, but was there one that you just thought, I've really enjoyed myself here?
From all the club that I was, it was really Sporting. It's not because I'm here, but it was really Sporting because it's so much different to play in Portugal than in France. Because in Portugal you really have just football, and football you can focus on it. In France you have a lot of stuff around it. The football is different. It's more physical in France. In Portugal is like really tactic everything, and the players are technically really good. So yeah, I enjoyed the most in Sporting.
Obviously, Sporting currently, he's out on loan currently. He's a Slovenian player as well, Andres Sporar. I don't know if you know him at all, or if you've ever talked to him about Sporting before.
Yeah, we played in national team together. But back then, I think I was still in France, so we never. But after when he moved, we never talked about Sporting, no, because we are not so much in contact. We just, you met him in the national team, and after, yeah.
Was there anyone in sort of the youth ranks of the Slovenian youth teams that you played for that you thought like was going to be big and have made it? I know there's loads of great Slovenian players that play for the national team at the moment. Was there anyone that you were sort of blown away by, or that you knew was going to become a top star?
You mean back then?
Yeah.
Yeah. Back then was all the selections of national team was Haris Vučkić. He was the biggest of all, because he with I think with 16 or 15 he moved to Newcastle, and he signed like I think 3 contracts there, re-signed. But he had a lot of problems with injury and everything. But amazing player, really good, fast, tall. He had really everything.
You've obviously been in a lot of different situations. Sporting, obviously, you've been in locker rooms where the team's pushing for the title. You've been in locker rooms where the team isn't so good, and they're kind of languishing in third place. You've been in locker rooms in Holland where the team is fighting to stay up in the division. You've been in locker rooms in Slovenia, obviously, where you've been pushing for the title. Just compare and contrast, what it's been like to be in all sorts of these, these different situations that these different teams have all been in over the years.
Yeah, the only thing is that you have teams that play to not lose, and you have other teams that play to win. So in Holland we play to not lose. Even draw was a happy point. So because every point was really important for us. The mood is even different, because for winning something you need winning mentality, and with this you earn it with just winning. With draw you don't get nothing. It's not good enough. Even now, when I came here in Maribor, was because Maribor is a really big club, and we focus just on win. Every draw is really bad for us. It's the same as lost. So yeah, I think this is the difference, and really big part of it is the coach that you have. If he's experienced and he gives you confidence, he gives you this mentality that you believe in, and that you believe in him, in his tactic, then I think is the good mixture to win something.
Just as you mentioned that you want to obviously do well with Maribor, get into Europe and win the league there. Is there anything else that you've sort of got on your list that you want to achieve? Any other goals?
Yeah, I have a goal to like you said, to win the league here, to play the Europe competition. Because here in Slovenia, if you finish first now with Conference League, if you finish first, it's easier to come in the Conference League or Europa League. But if you finish second, like we did last season, you have to win every game to come in Conference League. But if you finish first, it's totally different story. And after, I still want to go somewhere outside of Slovenia to play there. And I think that's it.
That's awesome. We know you mentioned MLS earlier. I live in New Jersey.
I want to play
New York Red Bulls, Philadelphia Union, New York City FC, New England Revolution. These are all great options. East Coast is great. I'm sure the West Coast is great too. I just haven't been there as much. California seems pretty cool as well.
I saw they're not doing so good. Even they have a good team.
Which one?
Los Angeles.
No, yeah, they're not that good.
Yeah.
They haven't been good in a couple years. So I don't know. Maybe they could looking for an experienced goalkeeper in the next couple of years.
We have to see.
Stan, did you have any last questions? And I think we can wrap up here.
No, I just wanted to say thank you again for coming on and, being so open to everything. I really do appreciate it. I know you're a busy man with training and keeping fit, so I really do appreciate you, and thank you for joining us today.
No, it was pleasure. Thank you for invite. You guys are amazing. It's amazing to have this, to have support for the club from everywhere. You're from States, you're from England. It's really amazing to have fans like this. And thanks again for invite that you remember at me.
Yeah, well, you've got 2 new Maribor fans over here.
Yeah, well,
we'll be watching you.
We certainly remember, and we'll continue, tracking you this season and going forward as well. Wishing you the best of luck, and thanks again.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.